Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah. A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to HJN. And so now, for today, I do got a lot of new episodes coming through, so I'm just not gonna stop with all this. Got lots of pre-recording that I'm taking place, and well, it's been quite some time since the last time I've done a lot of pre-recording, so I'm coming back here in the morning and doing some more. So the first subject that I got going on next on cue is opioids. Oddly enough, it's still a relevant topic, and that's because the so-called opioid epidemic is still an existing factor. A preliminary one, to be precise. And supposedly, the amount of opioids that people take in are staggering. It's as if that we are, in fact, heading back to somewhere in the past, and yet the past is being brought on to the present every day. And supposedly, it's still a theory that has yet to have an identification. But going back to opioids themselves, the so-called opioid epidemic is basically just a touch of how people and opioids, most of the time they have an unhealthy relationship with each other, and essentially, depending on what type of drug people happen to get, whether it's a prescription or not, it can be a pretty consequential thing for anyone's life. It puts anyone's lives at stake. But it all depends on the quantity of which that one type of opioid is taken, or if you had multiple. There are hundreds of different types of opioids out there within today's time. And a lot of technological advancements and a lot of medicinal factors, they really help to thrive the opioid population, and they do in fact keep the surplus of opioids in a level rate. But economically, it seems that even by today's standards, within the last few decades, opioids were a pretty big thing in people's lives, considering how lots of money had been going to them. And I do know myself that I've had a lot of drugs in my life, many of which were prescription, but in this case, I would say for sure that it all depends on what you're taking. There's lots of people out there today who would probably give out good advice on how opioids themselves can be either lethal or they can be safe. But for the most part, the general public will agree on the fact that the opioid epidemic is still a raging fury, alongside a few other factors that we got in today's time, which I'll talk more about those later on. But nevertheless, opioids are not. Anyone who does in fact take a lot of drugs or a lot of pills just to keep themselves alive, I don't really know much else to say about it. Because all this time that we've had here trying to get away from the opioid epidemic, we still manage to find ways to crawl back to it. And that can be a pretty big disappointment. A letdown amongst many. But for now, I'd say that many people out there who are indeed researching opioids should continue to try and find some hard evidence about whether or not they are truly safe or they are truly dangerous. But we'll leave that up to you. And until more stuff comes about here on HJN, if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.